Welcome back to the show. My name is Alex,
And I'm Dee Marie.
and you are back with Speak, Lead, and Grow, sponsored by District 57. And today we have our Director of PR, and I want to make sure I get it all right because there's so much alphabet soup with people's names. It's Leesa Thompson. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
And folks, before we start, if you are enjoying, whether you're a Toastmaster from around the world or you're new to Toastmasters and you want to learn more, you can please follow us on dm.org, or you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leesa, I have a couple of questions for you. And the first one is, how do you describe why Toastmasters is important to you?
That's an excellent question. I've been in Toastmasters since November of 2020. And it's important to me to be in Toastmasters because honestly, before I joined Toastmasters at the open house for Toastmasters, I couldn't even say, "Hi, I'm Leesa Thompson," without shaking, trembling, sweating. I was just scared of my own shadow. And it was impossible to introduce myself to a group of people that I didn't know and to say that I was happy to be there. So since joining Toastmasters, I've overcome a lot of my fears and I'm able to do my speeches almost tearlessly and definitely fearlessly. And it's all because of Toastmasters. So it's
Well,
been very important to me to be able to share my platform and to work with fellow Toastmasters and helping them to overcome their fear of public speaking.
that's amazing. And we've spoken to a couple of different Toastmasters in the district. And one of the things that Sally talked about, our district director, was that she's in many clubs. Is that something that you subscribe to as well?
So I'm currently in 3 clubs and I visit many clubs, both in California, in New York, where I'm from, and around the world. I believe that the more Toastmasters we meet, the more we can share ideas and feel comfortable with all Toastmasters everywhere.
That's great. We're both from, as you well know, we're both from the eastern part of the country, and this California district really has people from all over the world. Now, as the PRM, what does that actually entail in terms of your role this year?
Every club has a vice president of public relations. Many of them are learning public relations and learning to use Canva and podcasting and to do newsletters so that they can share with their club members their area and their division, and as well outside of their club, in order to keep their members abreast of what's going on in their club and to invite members in from around the Toastmasters itself and outside of Toastmasters. So 2 years ago, I was a vice president of PR for my club, and I was made a vice president PR ambassador. The woman, Kathy Blunt in District 46, who was our public relations manager, believed in training all of the VP PRs to use tools to help to be able to provide the understanding of how to share information about the club with the district and beyond. So I love the model that Kathy used, and I loved being her VP PR ambassador. And I brought that model here to District 57 so that we can get everyone in the district to be able to talk about how wonderful this district is and how wonderful their club is and how much Toastmasters helps all of us to become the best version of ourselves possible.
That's great. I know Dee Marie has a couple of questions. So, Dee, what questions do you have?
I know you understand fully since we're part of the public relations management team that we're totally excited about the podcast. How do you see the podcast factoring into what your goals and objectives are for this fiscal year of 2024-25?
I believe that people need to be exposed to all of the information they can in as many ways as possible. And I see podcasting as a wonderful way to introduce club members, club officers, area directors, division directors to all of us and to each other. And to that end, I'm looking forward to the podcast being done on a regular basis so that all of the different aspects of District 57 can be brought to light in a podcast so that everyone knows the joys and accomplishments of District 57.
So we're excited. And one of the things that we have decided is that the movements that we make, the podcast series or episodes that we present, will be intentional. And when I say intentional, they will be targeted toward a specific kind of thing that's going to help to expose and get more representation for the various clubs for District 57. One of the areas that we want to focus on is increasing membership or making new prospective members aware of just what a phenomenal vehicle Toastmasters can be to their everyday lives. How would you go about doing that or explaining that to someone?
I think that we need to be able to serve the needs of all of our members, not just our officers, but all of our members. We have over 1,000 members in District 57, and many of them have not been exposed to various parts of the district. For example, you and I, Dee, both got our Outstanding Achievement Toastmaster this year, and many of our club members have no idea of what that even means. Many of them are not enrolled in pathways. Many of them don't know what an elite triple crown is, and they don't really understand how their clubs earn district bucks in order to be able to buy things that their clubs need, such as banners, so that when we have our distinguished parade at the conference, each club has a banner. So there's just so many things that we need to share with all of our members about who we are individually, as well as who we are as clubs, areas, divisions, and the district overall. So I think in working together with the many committees that we've created for the public relations team, that will be able to spread this information. I'm very excited about the podcast being done on a regular basis. I think podcasting is a wonderful way of distributing information, as well as being excited about the newsletter. Lee Vaughn has put together a phenomenal newsletter that will be sent out the first of every month. And I can't wait to get the July 1st issue and to read about the many offerings that District 57 has. This year, our membership is going to thrive, not
So
just.
you will most assuredly see our article in the newsletter because we're going to tout the fact that the podcast is up and running. We're going to talk about our initial episodes and who our guests were, and we're going to highlight the impact that we think your information is going to help to make on District 57, because our goal is to be in alignment with the other arms of your PRM team so that we will all be working in a concerted effort in the same direction. We're excited beyond anything I can explain. Alex, I know you're jumping at the bit, so have at it.
I'd like to also know is, besides the newsletter and the podcast, what other avenues are you trying to reach either new members or current members in ways that we haven't either done before or that we really haven't exhausted enough?
We have a webmaster, Gerlando Termini, and he will be revamping the website to make it user friendly for every member in the district and not just highlight district information, but to highlight all the information starting at the club level. That's going to be able to shine a light on what's happening inside the district for the members of the district as well as for prospective members of the district.
And that website, for those of you on YouTube, is d57tm.org. Again, if you want to hear any information that's going on, you can go there, as well as we have an Instagram, as well as we have this YouTube channel. So again, there's many different ways that you can find out what District 57 or the core values of Toastmasters in this area is doing. Now, one of the other things that I know has been on your plan is the website, or, and I know I've used it, the social interaction Meetup. And
Yes.
I'd love for you to talk about that, because I know some clubs have been using it and other clubs just don't understand the value that it can produce for either virtual and or in-person members.
There's about 17 out of the over 100 clubs that have used Meetup. Every club should be using Meetup in order to attract members through Meetup's platform to come and visit their club. There's no cost to people in order to be able to use Meetup because the district's already covered it. And there's no cost to the Meetup user in order to visit the clubs. It's just a matter of having visibility. And Shri will be, her last name is Goodready. Shri Goodready will be sharing Meetup as a training with every club so that all clubs can come on board with using Meetup. Right now, we're trying to work out a few different aspects to this, and hopefully the training will be this August for all
great.
of the VPPRs especially, and anyone else interested in coming and finding out how clubs can use Meetup. The other aspect of our team is being handled by Eric Brucha, and he is in charge of calendar. So the calendar is a very important part of the website. And by going to the calendar, people can register for the many events that the district is having. I'm excited about the speeching event that is being done tonight, right after this podcast. And I can't wait to go and start speeching myself. So
That's
I'm
great.
thrilled with all of the different aspects.
I know there's a lot of different opportunities, especially since this is a larger district. With districts combining or areas combining, is there any more challenges, whether it's a small or a big district? Because I know you come from a different district on the East Coast. This is a massive district and you're in charge of technically all this PR. What type of challenges does the PRM have to deal with versus a smaller district where there's just not as many bodies?
Right. So District 46 is a very big district and it incorporates Westchester County as well as New York City.
Oh,
So
wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
it's a huge district. We have over 1,500 members, over 100 clubs, and new clubs are springing up all the time. So it's about a comparable size. in District 46, we only have 5 divisions, whereas in District 57, there's 6 divisions. But
It's
the
only six.
problem, I'm sorry?
It seems like we go to Z. It seems like we have so many divisions. And as a new Toastmaster, first off, you have to learn Toastmasterese with all the acronyms. Just trying to put your name in the thing, it took us a couple of times with all the letters. And I say that, but the fact is, I want to get it right because you earned that DTM. And I know it's not an easy process. They don't just give that stuff out. So that's the thing that I think is very important in Toastmasters. The challenge of trying to get new members, how do you see PR being that juggernaut or that one piece that can really bring people in?
So, public relations is all about distributing and sharing and disseminating information. Without that information, it's hard for members like yourself to realize that we have 6 divisions and to know who each division leader is, to know who each of the trio members are, what trio even is. I know one of our members of PR said, "What is trio?" And it's a term that you don't really know unless you're part of the leadership
I think
of
that
the
was me who asked.
if there were a number of
I think it was me because I'm like,
so right. Right now we have trio plus 4, and I only know 3 of the 4.
oh,
So
geez.
I'm not even sure what constitutes the 4th. It there is a lot of confusion with all the nomenclature. We're trying to get away from using codes like OATM and encouraging each other to say Outstanding Achievement Toastmaster. Many people don't know what a DTM is, a Distinguished Toastmaster. And I had a slideshow that I was going around as assistant division director. I was taking this slideshow from club to club, trying to explain to people all these different things that they didn't know we have, such as the OATM and the Elite Triple Crown and pathways. And it, D. Marie and I are so invested in pathways, and yet it really takes an understanding of pathways and how the projects outlined by pathways can benefit us in learning to do more public speaking. So there's so many different ways of earning those awards. And it's only through having PRM that the public relations piece of this can share all the information to make sure that all of our members are aware of the many opportunities that a district such as District 57 offers.
So, what I'm hearing you say is, in order to really connect the dots, in order to really connect the dots, the members of each club's members need to be familiar with what's going on. And what I'm also hearing, it sounds like the clubs need to get information to you as the PRN that would better help them serve their members. So when we get those two things in sync, then we stand a better chance of disseminating all the information that's needed by the various clubs. And one of our challenges always is membership. How does that information feed into someone who doesn't know anything about Toastmasters, wants to find something that they can do with their spare time? How do we convince that person that this might be something they need to look at?
Right. I think that there's going to be a push this year. Instead of just having trainings and expecting members to come to our trainings, that people from PRM and from Trio will be going into clubs to share right there at the club meeting what it is that we offer as a district. Because you're right, so often they go to their club meeting, they leave their club meeting, they come back to their next club meeting, but they don't look outside of their club to see how they fit into the bigger picture of their area and their division and their district. And did you know that districts that make up a region and regions that make up the world of Toastmasters.
Yes.
We are in 145 countries, and there's over 270,000 members worldwide, and we're trying to have each district start 20 new clubs this coming year. That means that each area director needs to give in at least one lead so that we can start a new club in every area. And it also means that in some divisions, the division director is being asked to start 5 new clubs. So we're looking at bringing a lot of members into Toastmasters, many of whom have never heard of what Toastmasters is. Today, I called the local library because I'm looking for an in-person club that's 5 minutes from my house. If you have an in-person club that's 5 minutes from your house, consider yourself very lucky. If not, go to your library. Tell them you were a not for profit and that you're interested in starting a club that meets at your library. My librarian had heard about Toastmasters and wants to help us start the new club. The interesting thing about my library is it's not even in any of our districts, it's in an adjacent district. And yet, I spoke with that person from their leadership team, and he's ecstatic about starting a new in-person club. As region, we're part of Region 1 in District 57 with Rose Kurland and a number of other fabulous people. Last night we had a meeting with Region 1 talking about starting these 20 new clubs per district and letting the world know what Toastmasters is, how wonderful and useful it is to us as individuals, both professionally and socially, and how it helps with developing our character. And as someone who's retired and old, believe me, it's never too late to continue to develop.
I totally understand that. And on that same type of theme, the name of the show is Speak, Lead, and Grow. And when you hear those 3 words, how does that fit in with what PR, or what does that mean to you as a Toastmaster and as a PRM?
I'm so glad you're asking me this question. I love your title. I think it's brilliant. And as an individual, what I first wanted to be able to do was to speak. And I didn't realize that by taking I out of the equation and adding we, that I was going to become a leader. So that has happened for me. And I believe that the more leadership opportunities I embrace, the more we will all grow. So I think it's a brilliant title. I love it. And that's what it's all about. Each of us speaking individually and leading collectively. And I totally believe in an atmosphere of collaboration and growing all together. I think that it's going to be a great year.
I'm so glad that she added that by collaboration and growing together, because Leesa has a way of twisting your arm just ever so gently to get you involved in things that you never thought you'd ever be doing. And maybe that's the key. Maybe that is the secret to dynamic leadership, being that person who can persuade others that this is the route to take. But the other thing is, with the passion that you've demonstrated here this evening in your answers, it's easy to see how you've been able to assume that leadership role, because followers love someone that has a sense of direction and passion about what they're doing. How would you begin to mentor someone else who wanted to become a dynamic leader?
I've been doing that with each of you, and the way that I believe in doing it is through teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. And as you said, Dee, I've been able to lead you in directions you never thought you'd be going. As in coming into this district, I came in to co-chair the annual conference from this past year. And we were sitting around, a couple of us, wondering how we were going to do this. And many times, conferences have been led by a very small group. However, that's not how my thinking goes. So, what I did was to call the division director for each of the 6 divisions in District 57 and invite them to be one of the chairs. And if they were not able to assume that responsibility, at least to give me the name of someone who they thought would do that. And as because of being on the committee for the conference, we grew to a committee of 40. And currently, the PR team is a committee of 12, although we are still looking for additional role takers. We need someone to help with social media distribution. We need someone to help with branding, making sure that everything we're doing follows the Toastmaster branding, such as the blue and yellow that you see tonight in the podcast room, and having the logo as part of your screen. And we need someone that will be the PR ambassador, chief ambassador for all of the VPPRs. There's over 100 VPPRs who we want to involve in giving training to, and we're looking for a chief ambassador. I've assumed the role in the meantime. However, I'm leading the team, and I believe that each of the roles need to be given to someone. So, in answering your question, Dee, I look for a person who can match a need that we have, and I bring together the person in a leadership role with the need that the team has and give them the tools and the training and the time and understanding in order to make sure that they do that job to the best of their ability so that they are happy to be leading an amazing team.
So you have just described dynamic leadership. Oh my goodness. The founder of Toastmasters International, Dr. Smedley, would be honored and amazed at your description. That was wonderful, Leesa. And I can see that Alex is jumping at the bits. I know he has something he wants to ask. Alex?
PR is about storytelling. And I know everybody comes to Toastmasters with their own uh, agenda, and meaning they do it either for work or for pleasure, or they have a cause. What type of agenda, for lack of a better term, do you like to speak about, and what do you like to work with?
As you're both familiar, but maybe the district isn't, I received my kidney 5.5 years ago from a living donor. I speak a lot about organ donation, and I have a club for called Kidney Stories Toastmasters, where we encourage our members to share stories about the need for living kidney donation. But as along those lines, there's 37 million Americans who have some form of chronic kidney disease. 90% of them are not aware that they are in that group of the 37 million. So I speak a lot about kidney transplant and renal health and anything to do with kidneys. I'm part of a number of kidney organizations, and I'm very active in that domain. Within
What
Toastmasters, my training topic was on table topics, and I think being able to answer impromptu questions is very important with anything that you're doing independent of Toastmasters. So that's another area that I speak about.
one of the things that I like about what you're that focus is, if you're a non-for-profit and you're trying to get your message out, this could be a great avenue to get your volunteers and your people to have the right message. And I think that there's a lot to be said in an environment that's friendly, welcoming, and constructive criticism environment, where you can really craft your message, your story, in a way that on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis, that you can actually get your story down and eventually tell it to not only the local whatever, the local cafe or group, but it could go even bigger. And I think that there's an opportunity for new membership that people may not have thought of. So nonprofits could really benefit from a Toastmasters club or Toastmasters training. And I just love the fact that is your passion for obvious reasons, and that you are pursuing that. D.
Yes. Now, as I sit here and listen to all of this explanation and everything that you are saying, it just happened to spark my interest to say people want to know a little bit more about you. You shared that, your personal story, that was wonderful. But the other thing that I would like for them to know, what is one of your huge passions that gives you pleasure as you follow bears and as you watch the salmon swim upstream and as you, oh my, will you please share with us one of your huge passions?
I love to travel. I just got back from spending 2 weeks in Alaska, where I was able to watch the salmon swim upstream. And I got to see Denali again. Many people go to see Denali, and it's often shrouded in clouds. And oh my goodness, it was not. It was so bright, so beautiful, the sun shining on it. It was spectacular. And so in District 46, again, we've started a travel club, and I would love to bring that concept of travel to District 57 and start some specialty clubs here in District 57. Specialty clubs are a wonderful way of learning public speaking and leadership skills while you're talking about things that you're passionate about. I also love sailing. As far as I know, there is no sailing club anywhere in Toastmasters. I would love to have a sailing club. And I know you're all right here in the Bay. I'm sure there's a lot of you who are sailors. And I love sailing. I missed a great sail last night because I was on with Toastmasters and the wind was perfect. They needed to take a reef in the sail to shorten the sail area so that it was safe to be out there with the white caps and a nice chop and good wind. There's nothing like being at the helm of a boat or even a passenger in a boat, cruising or sailing or whitewater rafting, which I did when I was in Alaska with class 4 rapids. It was phenomenal. And I was so thrilled. They didn't make me take an oar or a paddle. I was just able to sit there, hold on, and enjoy the thrill of going down this beautiful river in between the mountains. It was just wonderful. So I believe I got my kidney so I can live my best life. And I travel all the time. We're looking at going in November to the Caribbean and perhaps in October to Canada for the leaves changing. And it's something I love. I just love living life.
Specialty clubs are, I'm just, not that I'm just learning about it, but because I knew about the kidney club that you were a part of, but I really never thought of it in that way. And I think that people listening, whether you are a Toastmaster or if you're looking to get better at public speaking, there's nothing better than talking, like you said, talking about your passion. And everybody has a passion in terms of what their thing is. And I believe that if you have that passion and you want to be able to speak about it in an intelligent way, in a way that people will not only sit there but or listen, but they'll listen. there's a difference between listening and listening, I think. And I know that's one of the things that Pathways does, as well as a whole bunch of other things. But Dee, what other questions do you have?
Oh my goodness. I'm just glad that the members, club members, officers, trio, they will hear our podcast and get to see you in a whole different light and know you in a different way. That's one of the intentionalities that we have with this podcast. We want people to be able to resonate with our core leaders and see themselves in something that they have said. And what that does is it breaks down barriers and it builds relationships. And it also increases your networking capabilities. So we're excited about all the potential that our podcast is going to offer to the members, the officers, everybody in District 57. When you think about the podcast in that light, what main objective would you have in mind if you were to twiggle your nose and just wish something up for us? What would that be?
I'm really good at twiddling my nose. Can you see that?
I always saw that.
I always loved it when she did it on Bewitched. I thought that was like the coolest thing. So the question, I lost the question with the
How,
twiddling of your
how,
nose.
how do you think we could best use and capitalize on this huge platform of having a podcast?
Yeah, you were talking about getting to know each other. And I think sometimes that's what happens in a club is that the club members know each other and we've appreciated each other's speeches. But when you're reaching outside of a club, you really don't know each other yet. So I think that by people coming on the podcast and letting the district know who you are and why you're here and what you love outside of Toastmasters' immediate obstacles, I think that it's a way of connecting even further. And the more we can do to strengthen those connections, the more we can do to thrive as a district.
I think we should end on that note just because it was such a great answer. And I want to thank you because I know if your time isn't limited, I don't know how it isn't, because it sounds like you're all over the place, literally all over the world. But I do want to thank you. And folks, once again, if you are looking to become a Toastmaster or you want more information either about our district, how Toastmasters works, or if you even want to uh, find out more about our leg, please go to D57.org, as well as subscribing to the YouTube channel and all the other good stuff that it comes along with it.
Can Dee and I share one more thing before I go?
Absolutely.
So Dee and I are very interested in storytelling.
Okay.
And to that end, we're part of an organization that all of you are welcome to come to. We meet on Mondays from 4 to 5:30 Eastern Time. We're called Artists Standing Strong Together. We'll make sure you get the link.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the show notes. You just
that'd
have
be
to,
great.
we'll put the
That'd
link in
be
the show
great.
notes. But
And
I think that's
come
great.
and support us there and learn more about how you too can improve your storytelling craft.
There's a lot of opportunities, whether it's in Toastmasters, whether it's your passion, whether it's your travel, whatever it is, there seems to be an answer for you with Toastmasters. And again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and teaching us a little bit about the PR division of or leg of this district. I know I learned a little bit, even though I'm technically part of it, because the district is very big. And one of my goals is just to learn as we go. So that said,
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you, Dee. I think you're phenomenal. I wish your show all the success in the world. And I'm looking forward to having many podcast episodes this year and beyond. So this is fabulous. Thank you.
I would say to anyone who wants to learn more about Toastmasters, please go to our website, or you can follow us on Instagram at Toastmasters D57. But the other thing that is so much simpler than either one of those, tune in to our podcast. we're going to be giving you all kinds of intentional information about Toastmasters. Over to you, Alex.
I want to thank everybody for listening. And that's our show. My name is Alex.
And I'm Dee Marie.
And I'm Leesa.
And thanks for listening. And remember, you have the ability to speak, lead, and grow anywhere in the world.